Why does everyone hate Wuthering Waves? Okay, you want my honest answer? It's very obvious. It's because Wuthering Waves has become everything Genshin Impact players have wanted in their fucking game, and Genshin Impact players get fucking furious that everything that they've wanted will never happen, and that everything they could want, they could go get it, but they also have spent so much money and so much time on Genshin Impact that they don't want to fucking quit. Now, don't get me wrong. Do I think Genshin Impact's a good game? I would say it's a fine game. I think the game would be infinitely better without Paimon, but I do think Genshin Impact would benefit greatly from adapting some of the systems that Wuwa has taken from and improved upon, besides TOA, because that's a fucking joke. But yeah, let's hear what this guy, who is this? What Void Enigma thinks on why everyone hates Wuthering Waves.
Students are born through doing something that has never been done before.
Okay.
They will be hailed in history as the honored one, who has claimed a pinnacle achievement that no one else has ever achieved in all of history. These cornerstones are talked about for ages, and they will remain hot topics that will survive through the eons of time, no matter what. Those pinnacle achievements include things such as Einstein's E equals MC squared and Shakespeare's
What the fuck is he talking about? Are we talking about Wuthering Waves, or where the fuck are we at? I'll let him cook. I'll let him cook.
To be or not to be.
Good one.
Near automata reference there. And Isaac Newton inventing gravity. I think. Another one of those pinnacle achievements is, of course, launching an open world gacha game during the pandemic of the year 2020 when the world was forced to stay inside and play the game. That,
man, oh man. It must have been because the game was really good, guys. It definitely wasn't because the world's most popular game at the time cost $90 in the form of Breath of the Wild, and then China said, wait, you can get it for free by playing Genshin Impact. It's $0. And then the internet has nowhere else left to fucking go, so they enjoy all the monotony and daily grind of which equates to zero real purpose in the game. Nah, it's definitely because the game was just so good.
Is one of the crowning achievements that sets you up to be a legend for the next decade. The pandemic was a very hard time for many people,
Absolutely.
And what was presented to those people going through it was an amazing, new, and unique game, Genshin Impact. I was one of them.
Same.
Now, the reason I bring this up is to demonstrate that Genshin Impact has become a massive game with a gigantic following. Despite its gigantic following, more than 50% of the players still follow Genshin, but
Hey guys, can we all agree that even though the pandemic was really fucking rough, it was kind of awesome for gamers? You know, besides like 3 of my relatives dying, besides that, right? Gamers just got to game. You know, I put on like 120 pounds, but man, I was gaming hard. And society backed the fuck off. Schools were canceled. You know what I'm saying? Nobody was fucking with me. Just stay downstairs and goon and play League of Legends and Genshin Impact. Man, those were the days. And yeah, I got COVID twice, and I've never really felt good since. And also when I got COVID, I lost all my fucking hair. And now every single top comment on my videos are, oh man, his head looks so shiny today. But man, Genshin Impact and League were so good.
don't play Genshin. While Genshin Impact still has a large fan base of dedicated masochists, I mean players, wholeheartedly, I mean players.
No, man, they're fine. Listen, if I said this once, I'll say it 1,000 times. It's not people who play Genshin that are the problem. It's the people that like Paimon. Because if you were that delusional that you still accept Paimon as a good character, you are far gone, and I would rather not associate myself with you.
A lot of people fell out of love with the game for a few reasons, the main reason being they never changed. While Genshin Impact has left its mark as a legendary game, the conversation doesn't stop there. In 2024,
And I do want to say this. Without Genshin, there is no HSR, there is no Zenless Zone Zero, there is no Wuthering Waves. So I do respect for what Genshin Impact does for the space. However, I think we can all agree, we wish the game innovated a hell of a lot more than it is, because currently, it's just not.
Another ambitious open world gacha game, Wuthering Waves, has entered the scene, only to be met by a surprising amount of backlash. So, where does this hate come from, and is it justified? There are words that have become derogatory terms such as Genshin clone, Genshin killer, Hoyo shill, and Kurobot that are—
Oh man, those are fun. I'll be real. And I want to make a whole video on this, and I want to talk to Sane Tontas about this, because a lot of people in this space are assuming that Genshin killer is actually something bad to call a game. No. It's one of the best things you can call something. Much in the same vein as Souls-like, by being similar to Dark Souls, Genshin clone or Genshin-like should be a term that is more openly used in the space to kind of let people know what they can expect before playing the fucking game. But the problem is the Genshin community gets so fucking upset by anything that could have a negative connotation that they freak the fuck out about it.
Used to describe a set character that a person has or a set state of the game.
Yeah, the same thing where if anybody actually likes Wuthering Waves, they're called a Kuro bot, and if anybody is defending Genshin Impact, they're called a Hoyo shill. It's just, we're just taking any attempt to discredit anybody who talks about anything that we like and say their opinion doesn't matter, mine does.
Yet, offer no real constructive criticism for those said games. And even when constructive criticism is given, some content creators give the criticism completely wrong.
Well, the problem is that when a content creator presents what he's saying as fact and an objective truth, and they receive feedback on what they're saying is wrong, well, that's not attacking your career. That's not attacking your character. That's just merely addressing that you're putting out misinformation. But the problem is people are so far up their own ass, they don't want to accept that.
My name is Void Enigma, and I've laid down the groundwork for this controversial topic because there's a gigantic disconnect between many people regarding Wuthering Waves, and because of this disconnect, the overall health of the community is bound to deteriorate. Quite frankly, I'm genuinely confused as to why so many people hate Wuthering Waves. Just the mention of Wuthering Waves can really rile people up in the community and social media sites such as Reddit, Twitter, and especially in the YouTube comment section.
Bro, if you want to see people get fucking furious on Reddit, there's 3 words you can type. Go onto the Genshin Impact subreddit and type in Wuthering Waves, and the other word that you can type in the Genshin Impact Reddit that will trigger everyone there, just type the word Tectone and just wait. Mention Wuthering Waves or Tectone positively. And I want you to go try this out. Better yet. I have a thing called the Daily Scramble in my Discord. Okay? I have a thing called the Daily Scramble in my Discord where you can submit your screenshots and your links into this every single day. I want you guys to go into the Genshin Impact subreddit, or even more so, go to a positive Genshin Impact player CC subreddit, Ziox, Doro, Brent Online, Zajef, and just mention Wuthering Waves or Tectone in a positive way and try to get 10 upvotes. Try. You will not be able to do it. You will probably get fucking banned before you get 10 upvotes. So, give it a shot. It will not work.
So instead of going onto every Wuthering video and saying, "All hail Lord Wuwa," I decided to...
Didn't Ziox already say your name is banned? Wait, yeah, I forgot that you can't type Tectone on the Ziox Reddit. That's right. Never mind.
Do some research, and I've done my homework on both Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, and I've made countless videos discussing the differences between the two, both the benefits and what's the opposite of benefits? Friends with benefits, friends with negative benefits, and benefits. Anyway, I've pointed out the benefits and negatives of both of these games, but the comment section is filled with very proud voices from each side. Many content creators and players for these games will speak out about their feedback for Genshin Impact and offer meaningful reasoning as to why they feel this way about Genshin Impact's fall off. Meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, people will simply say things like, Wuthering Waves is shit, it's a trash game, story is shit, it's just a Genshin clone.
The guy who says story is shit, fair, I guess. This is so fucking dope. The thing is, the Wuthering Waves story is like a 7.2 out of 10, but the way that it's told elevates it to easily an 8.5 or a 9. Right, because they take a story that's pretty okay, but they tell it in a fun and interactive way where it makes it a lot better than the actual source material.
Or whatever else that may come up to their mind. Personally, I've never said that Genshin is a bad game. I am simply stating the facts of what each game has to offer. And yeah,
1.0's first 3 chapters are easily, I agree, like a 2 or a 3. Those were fucking painful.
Yes, I am more on the Wuwa side.
Yeah, only compared to Gacha, 6 out of 10. Exactly.
Because of the experience that I've had with the game, but let's talk about the term Genshin killer, which infuriates so many people whenever that term is thrown around carelessly.
And that's why I say it all the time.
If it's a video discussing Wuthering's good points or bad points, then the term Genshin killer is used or commented in some way, shape, or form. The term Genshin killer sets unrealistic expectations for any game. It implies a direct rivalry that only fuels toxicity, rather than allowing games to be appreciated in their own merits. Wuthering Waves never claimed to be a killer. That's the narrative that was created by the community, and it does more harm than good. The term is used far too often, and it really demonstrates the opposite of what we want. The only ones who can truly kill Genshin is Genshin, and trust me, they're already on their way to doing that, but Genshin is more than
I've already said the person who's going to kill Genshin and back to Hoyoverse, no other game, because no other game is going to get the pandemic buff, right? No other game will get the pandemic buff.
Game. It's a cultural phenomenon with a massive fan base, and even among those who no longer play, the brand power makes it nearly impossible for any competitor to simply kill it.
Of course.
Hoyo as a brand has become so big that they have spawned people to create
Why are y'all saying unless?
Animations, art, cosplay.
What is China doing? What do y'all know that I don't know?
Hentai. Genshin is more than a game. Combined with Honkai Star Rail and now Zenless, it is a brand. Even if no one plays their game, they are probably still watching these trailers and the new releases and will spend money on merch that they really enjoy. Most of these players don't even play Genshin Impact, which is crazy. With that being said, most of these players are very casual as well, which is how they actually want to play the game. And that is where the hate for wuwa comes in.
Yeah.
Wuwa is really meant for a more determined audience to fully immerse themselves into the core mechanics of the game and have a great time doing so.
I agree.
Because of this, the audience deters many, and I mean many, of players from even trying.
Absolutely.
It's a more complicated combat system, and you really only get invested if you like this type of gameplay.
I mean, all you got to do is just make a character that's so goddamn brain dead easy and beats everything. Then bada bing, bada boom, you have more of a casual audience. Just take Miyabi and put that bitch in Wuthering Waves. Just put Miyabi in. Win the game.
In addition, they're a gacha game, so that's also an immediate turnoff for a large spectrum of people. I would understand it in the comments and discussions, people explaining that this is the reason why they don't like Wuthering Waves, but instead,
Yeah, the people who say, I don't like gacha, that's why I don't play WoW, that are still playing Genshin, it makes sense. It just fucking doesn't.
we're met with what can only be described as hate.
Sure.
Which leads me to my next point. The genuine hate among content creators and players of Wuthering Waves. There are many controversial videos and streams discussing Wuthering Waves that have come to light recently, and there are many creators and people who are really angry about these takes.
Dude, but I tamed the beast. I tamed Saint Tontas. I calmed this rabid fucking pit bull down and turned him to a sweet puppy dog. Right? He's fine. Back off Saint Tontas, man. He's a good little pup now.
For example, I saw a funny little stream by Satanos, and he was talking about the hate within the
Bro called him Satanos. What the fuck?
community, and I was briefly present for his discussion regarding videos released by Vars and Ryuku Sensei. Braxophone and Tectone were present, and Satanos
Yo.
was furious about some of the takes on Vars' video regarding the team building in Wuthering Waves. This depicts a picture that content creators are fueling the discourse around Wuthering Waves, sometimes constructively, other times not so much. For example, Vars' video discusses criticizing the game's team building mechanics, but much of his critique boils down to a subjective preference rather than an objective.
That's the big issue, is where, like, for example, people like Ryuku Sensei never understand that just because that's what they want for the game doesn't mean that's what's good for the game. Kazahana, thank you for the raid, by the way, brother. I appreciate you. You got to understand what will benefit the largest majority of the game's player base. And guys, whether we want to admit that or not, as much as people want to say you got to fix TOA to get Wuthering Waves hype again, no, you don't. All you got to do is improve their quality of life and improve the casual aspects. And guys, why, oh, why do you think we're getting an Elytra? And that's to appease the casual audience, because whether you want to admit it or not, these players are en masse still played and made up of casual players. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Objective flaw. While different opinions are valid, this highlights how decisive the conversation around Wuthering Waves can become, even among influencers. I've watched both of these videos, and I can say that I definitely felt like Vars' take on this video was incorrect. All of the
Absolutely.
downsides he pointed out were things that I liked about Wuthering Waves. And sure, while his opinions didn't align with me, it was still his opinion.
Sure.
And 40% of his audience definitely saw that fact. So I'm sure...
I don't know if that's his audience. I feel like that might be someone else, maybe, perhaps, getting their audience to go dislike it. Because that video had a lot less dislikes before somebody else reacted to it.
Var's got the message one way or another. While I agree that if you make controversial topics, then be prepared for controversial feedback.
He got that quote from me.
And once you upload your video, then that ship has sailed and there's no takebacks. Still, it's just an opinion at the end of the day and we should approach it rationally.
Nah, I'm good. If somebody says some dumb shit, I'm gonna go in on them.
Content creators should be held to a higher regard, especially if you have a big audience, but still,
Absolutely, man. If somebody's peddling out misinformation to hundreds of thousands of people, get them the fuck out.
people will have a sense of what's right and what is wrong, and I feel that making content for Wuthering Waves still has its merits. Just be ready for the chaos that ensues you if you have some bad takes. As for Ryoku Sensei's video,
hey man, you cannot feel bad. If someone makes controversial content, controversial responses will fucking ensue. Okay? It's the same thing that you have an OnlyFans. If you have an OnlyFans and you're complaining about being sexualized, then stop having a OnlyFans. It is that hard. And people who cannot understand it, well, now I get why they have an OnlyFans, because they're dumb as
video, I absolutely enjoyed it. It was pretty good overall. But alas, the community behind Wuthering Waves is still pretty strong. They have a much smaller fan base when compared to Hoyo, but it's a dedicated fan base of players who will play the game rather than just follow it. It's becoming more apparent to me that the people who talk about Wuthering Waves in a positive light talk about the aspects that they enjoy of the game and also discuss the downsides, whereas most people who talk about why Wuthering Waves is bad just say simple mute points that offer no substance. Now don't...
Where'd that come from? Okay, so it's very easy to give my chat examples of parallels, right? You have to understand what content breeds what content. Obviously, controversy breeds controversy. Sexual content breeds being sexualized. Gacha games breed gambling. Tectone breeds your mother.
Don't get me wrong, there are people who discuss why they don't like
simple.
Wuthering Waves over Genshin, but it's just rare to see those type of comments. People really present a hive mind mentality, and the fact that Wuthering is a gacha and we're given such expectations as a Genshin killer really pissed them off to the point where they genuinely hated the game. There's a thing with human nature where if you're constantly told how good something is or how great this thing is compared to something that you're already enjoying, then you'll subconsciously begin to hate it.
Yeah, I'll be real, man. Like, every iPhone 14 user is going to be pissed off when they find out 2 months later after they bought it, the iPhone 15 completely fucking shits on it, right? Because you already spent the money on the 14 and you don't have a free upgrade. People are always going to shit on something that they can't have and try to be happy with what they have, because the word is fucking coping.
Many people
Listen, guys. You know your girlfriend is max a 6 of 10, right? But you're going to fucking cope and say, oh, nah, man, I love her more than Yinlin from fucking Wuthering Waves. Nah, man, Eula doesn't have shit on my girlfriend. Yeah, because you're fucking coping and you're mad that you can't fucking anime girl. And we all know it's the fucking truth.
Break through the psychological barrier and actually try the thing that everyone's saying is better, and then they can actually
Wait a minute, you don't have girlfriends.
form their opinion of the game. But mindlessly saying things about Wuthering Waves that offer no substance or value is a pretty bad thing to do. So please, if you happen to be one of those people who added no substance to the conversation and simply said things like dumb Kurobato or it's just a Genshin,
Says you? Man, it is very well documented that I've had girlfriends, guys. Okay? It's a little bit too well documented at this point that I drive bitches crazy, bro. Okay? I mean, that's just like governmentally documented that I be driving bitches crazy, bro. That's just the God's honest truth, man.
clone, please evaluate your perspective and think for a second. Maybe I should, I don't know, try the game for more than 10 minutes. This has been Void Enigma, and let me know about your thoughts in the comment. Is the hate towards Wuthering Waves justified or...
No. Yep. No, it's not. People are fucking mad. That's the video. Great video, by the way, Void Enigma. Very good insight.